What happens when a 19th century Indian poet writes in English about ancient Hindu myths long before post-colonial literature was even a concept? Today, we are diving into Ancient Ballads and Legend of Hindustan by Toru Dutt, a remarkable and often overlooked voice who helped bridge cultures, languages, and histories. Toru Dutt was born in 1856 in colonial India into a highly educated Bengali family. She grew up speaking multiple languages, including English and French, and spent part of her life in Europe. What makes her story extraordinary is not just her talent, but how young she was. She died at only 21, and yet, in that short life, she produced works that still resonate today. To understand this book, we need to understand its context. During the 19th century, India was under British colonial rule. English education was spread among Indian elites, and many writers began using English as a literary language. But here's the twist: instead of imitating British themes, Toru Dutt turned to India's own past, its myths, legends, and oral traditions. In doing so, she was reclaiming cultural identity through a foreign language. Ancient Ballads and Legend of Hindustan is not a single story, but a collection of 9 narrative poems, each drawn from Indian mythology and epic tradition, especially from the Ramayana. The book includes Savitri, Lakshman, Jogadiya Uma, the royal aesthetic and the Hind, Dhruva, Bhuttu, Sindhu, Prahlad, and Sita. Each poem focuses on a different legend, character, or moral episode, but all are reimagined through Toru Dutt's voice. Some of the most striking poems include First Savitri. This is not just a story about love conquering death, it's a scene. A woman sitting in the dark forest, holding her dying husband as death itself arrives to take him away, and she chooses to follow. Then Lakshman. In this story, a single moment becomes a psychological conflict. A cry echoes through the forest. Sita is certain Rama is in danger, but Lakshman insists it's a trap. Torn between protecting her and saving his brother, he hesitates, and that hesitation ignites everything. Fear turns into accusation and love into something harsher until duty itself becomes impossible to defy. In Sindhu, a simple mistake turns into tragedy. A king, hunting in a dark forest, shot at a sound, only to discover he has killed a boy caring for his blind parents. But instead of anger, the boy forgives him. The real weight of the act comes later, when the king must face the parents and reveal the truth, transforming the story into a meditation on a guilt and consequence. And finally, Sita, the epic becomes memory. 3 children sit in the dark, listening as their mother's voice brings a distant forest to life. At its center, Sita weeps, and she cries. They cry too. The myth is no longer just told, it is felt, imagined, and passed down. These are not just simple retellings, they are reinterpretations, rich in emotion, lyrical in style, and filled with a deep sense of nostalgia, where ancient myths become intimate, human experiences. First, memory and loss. Many of the poems feel like echoes of a fading world, stories passed down through generations. Second, identity. Writing in English, Toru Dutt reclaims Indian narrative for both Indian and global audience. Third, emotion and intimacy. Her tone is often gentle, melancholic, and deeply human. Stylistically, she blends Western poetic forms with Indian storytelling traditions. It's a literary fusion that was incredibly raw at the time. This book challenged the idea that colonial era writers were simply imitating Europe, because it shows an early form of what we call today global literature, and because Toru Dutt gives a voice to stories that might otherwise have been forgotten today. In many ways, she was ahead of her time, reshaping how culture can meet, mix, and create something new. Ancient Ballads and Legend of Hindustan is more than a collection of poems. It's a bridge between past and present, India and Europe, myth and modernity. And perhaps most importantly, it's a proof that even a short life can leave a lasting literary legacy. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.